frustrations of being a boxing fan. Um, we always get it, but it happens way past when we want it. Pacquiao Mayweather's the biggest. Pacquiao Mayweather's the biggest example, obviously, but there's been so many. There's been so many. But we do get them. Don't get me wrong. We do get them. This is why I think I became a big MMA fan. Right? Dana White was a promoter that just wanted to see the big fights, so we invariably got them as soon as we wanted. Like there was no wait for 3 years, negotiation. Obviously, it's easy because the UFC, everyone falls under that umbrella. But we got the big fights when we wanted. In boxing, unfortunately, us as the fans don't have much say. So again, we get the fights, but we don't get them when we want them. We want AJ Wilder now. It looks like we're going to get it 2019. I will say this: if I'm Eddie Hearn, if I'm Anthony Joshua, I want that Povetkin fight before Wilder. Call it a duck, call it avoidance, call it whatever you want. But if you're the handlers for AJ, let's be honest, AJ Wilder is a 50-50 fight that I don't know how much it generates AJ. $50 million? That's kind of the number that's being branded about. Probably can go upwards maybe to 60, $70 million, which is a huge amount of money. What's that, 40 million pounds? AJ will probably get for fighting Povetkin. And it'll be good to see if there is any backlash and the pay-per-view numbers aren't as big and maybe the ticket sales aren't as big. But AJ will probably get around 20, 25 million for fighting Povetkin. Maybe about 20, maybe on the bottom end of that. So if you're AJ's handlers, you think, well, just collect that 20 from Povetkin. Just collect that 20 from Povetkin. AJ will be a massive favourite to beat Povetkin, even though I think that's a very, very dangerous fight. Trust me, very dangerous. But AJ will be a big favourite. So it's almost as though just make as much money as you can before you fight Deontay Wilder, who is a hell of a risk, right? And that's what he's doing. We're all going to be angry. I'm livid about it. I want to see AJ Wilder, but I fully understand and expected it to be 2019. Everyone's done it in the past, people. Again, you're going to be angry, but everyone's done it in the past. When, let's be honest, I wanted to see Pacquiao Mayweather just after Pacquiao, I think, destroyed Cotto. It would have been one of the best fights in the history of boxing. But we waited. Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez. Mayweather slowed down a bit, and then we got it later. It was still the biggest selling fight of all time, but it wasn't the fight for fans. It was more of a fight for Showtime and the execs, and that's almost what AJ and Wilder's got to be careful it doesn't turn into. I don't think it will. Both of them are young enough. Both of them are good enough to carry their unbeaten records into 2019. But it is very, very disappointing nonetheless. I don't want to hear the excuse about, and Eddie Hearn's going to use it. I've kind of seen him on Twitter already. He's having a go at people, going back and forth with fans, which is weird. He doesn't need to do it, but it's fun for us, right? But I don't want to hear the excuse about, it was a mandatory, we had to do it. Look, he could have easily got an exemption for that mandatory. People say he couldn't have given Povetkin step-aside money. It's not giving Povetkin step-aside money, because you're right, Povetkin isn't stepping aside for anyone. He's a millionaire. He isn't stepping aside. But what you could have done was get a further exemption from the WBA and say, look, this negotiation's taken a lot longer than we want. Give us another month. Of course they would have done it. I mean, the WBA would have done it 100%. Eddie Hearn is arguably the biggest promoter in boxing right now. AJ is arguably the biggest boxer in the world right now. If anyone can get exemption, it's those two. But look, it's just the way it is, right? So it looks like we're going to get AJ versus Povetkin. I don't know when. Maybe late September, October. And then I wonder what Wilder does. Does Wilder now take Dominic Brazil? Possibly. And then it looks like we're going to get Wilder versus AJ. Who knows? Who knows? March, April. Who knows? Never. You just don't know with boxing, right? Shelley Finkel is going crazy. Go on to World Boxing News. They have a little article there where Shelley Finkel's explaining that Wilder was offered 50 million and for the fight to be at Wembley on the same day as Canelo GGG. He then kind of sent an offer back saying that's not going to happen. Obviously, you can't put it on the same day as Canelo GGG. So then Eddie Hearn kind of sent an offer back. Again, who do you believe in? Eddie Hearn can then send another offer back with no date and no venue. Who do you believe? I don't know. But whatever we believe, we have AJ Povetkin. And look, everyone's going to be very upset about AJ Povetkin. Guys, that's a good fight. Povetkin, for me, is a top 5 heavyweight. I have, obviously, you have Wilder, you have AJ, in any order, whatever you want to do. You have, I'm still going to say Luis Ortiz. I'm still going to give him that credit. You have Luis Ortiz. I think then you have Povetkin for me. And then, I don't know, Dylan White Park, whoever else is floating around. But for me, Povetkin's number 4, at worst number 5. So you have number 1 versus number 4 or 5. It isn't that bad. It isn't as though, he's fighting Huey Fury or he's fighting a credible opponent who's only lost once, and that was to Klitschko. So look, it's a good fight nonetheless, but yeah, we're disappointed because it's not the fight we want. But guys, leave your comments below. I know a lot of people are going to say AJ's ducking. I know it's going to come. But again, if you're managing AJ, put yourself in the position of a manager or promoter. You've got this asset that is AJ that makes you millions of pounds, who himself makes millions of pounds. Do you risk him against Wilder for just a few extra million, or do you put him in fights where you know he can win, even though they're tough fights nonetheless? I mean, no one's going to tell me that Parker and Takam are walkovers, but you know he can win and just make more money. I mean, put yourself in Eddie's position. You do the latter. Let's be honest. You do the latter. But guys, leave your comments below anyway. Let me know what you think. Peace.